lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and today going to be going through Superman Adventures #1, based on the animated series. But before I get into it, just want to remind everybody to make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you comment on the videos. All of the comments, likes, do a ton of helping, push the channel up in the algorithm, and got a bunch of dope content. Make sure you check all that out. So yes, please subscribe to the channel, and after this video, make sure you check out some of the other cool shit on the channel. So let's get into this one. I gotta, before I get into the issue, this fucking sick wraparound by Bruce Timm. A lot of people refer to these animated series as the Timmverse. While this, I feel like this, not only this comic book, but this show really didn't get as much recognition as the Batman one did. I loved it. I think it was amazing. I think both the cartoon and the comic, I'll admit though, I know more about I've watched more of the episodes of the show than I have read issues of this comic. Shout out to Cartoonist Kayfabe for kind of reminding me how great this series was, because I do have a few issues and I remember it being really good, along with the Batman animated series comic book, which was phenomenal, but kind of forced me to get out there and pick up the comic, and I was not disappointed. I didn't own this one, so I picked up the first issue. I do have some later issues. Scott McCloud joins on issue 2. Mark Miller has a run as well. This one, Paul Dini, Rick Burchett, Terry Austin, Marie Severin. That's a fucking who's who, murderer's row of talent right there. So I really love this. This opens up and it's being narrated by none other than Lois Lane. And it's 3 years on the Planet City desk, covering everything from gun running and garbage strikes. This reporter had never seen anything like it. And he's taken down this robot, and it's obviously sent by Lex. And we see that the person inside the suit is Corbin. And this ends up being the guy who will later become Metallo. And this has got everything you'd want in a Superman comic. It's got, first of all, the writing's phenomenal. I love Paul Dini. But the art is just so great. It captures the essence of the show perfectly, the style of the show. And, we got this conversation of what is Superman here for, right? Does he have ulterior motives? He's only been seen a few days and already he saved dozens of lives. So we got all these different, responses to, what Superman is, who Superman is, why he would be there. And we even got Jimmy Olsen talking about how he got some shots of him putting out a fire in Suicide Slum. And Perry White, $50. And then we get, what are your thoughts on this strange visitor from another planet? And who is it? Clark Kent. And us as readers, we know that's Superman. So I love that we get his, kind of him getting asked the question, but he doesn't have an opinion because he hasn't had enough contact with him, which is, I think, kind of funny and ironic. And so this is what I love, this information that will be our most potent weapon in the battle against this threat, this Superman. And it's Lex talking to Mercy, and he's got to figure out a way to take Superman down. He talks about how Metropolis was nothing till he rebuilt it, according to his vision, and now most of its people work for Lex Corp, or one of its many subsidiaries. City's few voices of dissent, such as Star Labs and the Daily Planet, are allowed to exist simply because they amuse me. One of my favorite depictions of Lex, I have to say, both Batman animated series, Superman animated series, the Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited, some of my favorite versions of these characters and the way they were written were in these cartoons. I just think they were able to distill what makes all the characters, whether it's the heroes or the villains, so great, and they do it perfectly here. And he wants to show Metropolis how dangerous this alien can be. What does he do? He creates an android. Not only can it duplicate Superman's powers, it's going to be able to surpass them. And they set him out into the world. And this is how he's going to get the people to turn on Superman. And then we get this great moment, Mom and Pa Kent, them creating their scrapbooks. Because again, this is early in Superman's career. In this universe, I don't believe he ever was Superboy, if I remember correctly. So he just went straight from moving from Smallville, big city in Metropolis, and from there, he becomes the superhero we all know. Again, just wanting to live up to everyone's expectations, and his mom just saying, you can't worry, you don't have to please everybody. There's not a job that not even Superman can handle, he says to his son. It's great moments. These thought balloons of him thinking about, they're right. Even with my powers, I can't be everywhere at once. Go where Superman's needed most. There he comes, back into the Daily Planet. There's an attack at the Casnian Embassy, but who's attacking? It's Superman. And obviously he's like, well, what? How can it be? Because he's Superman. So we see this android tearing it up, and we get Turpin, we get Maggie, the more popular characters or more popular police characters in the universe of the Superman world. And again, just love this, how do you start off this, this series without having Lex? He's always the main focal point. In my opinion, I think he's kind of overused, much like Joker's been overused. Superman doesn't have these significant villains besides, I say, Zod, Brainiac, and Luthor. I think those are the big three. And then you have the other ones that don't really, Metallo, Parasite, not as strong of villains. But I do love this. It's a fun story. Superman going against himself. And this robot even saying, it seems you've met your match, Superman. And who is it? It's Luthor voicing that. And once again, Lex just trying to show that he's better than Superman, when in reality, he's not. And we see this great fight just taking place throughout the city. All the while, Lois is watching. Lex is watching from his building. And now he's even, the businessman that he is, he's like, okay, now we can use this as, defense androids. And then he'll be making millions off it. And then realizes Superman's free. And where's he coming? He's coming straight for Lex. Flies straight through the building. Hands him the robot. And I love this between it. It's like, you're very sure of yourself, alien. What makes you think you've got the upper hand? Because today you really believe that you saw me at the limit of my powers. Sorry, Luthor. I was only at the limit of yours. Such a great comic book. Such a great cartoon. I know I'm going to have to dive in and seek all of these out. It's been years since I've watched the cartoon. This made me want to watch the cartoon again. It makes me want to pick up all the comic books. And I have to say, from what I've read past this, the few issues I got when I was a kid, when this cartoon was coming out, amazing. So if you can find this copy, or if you can find any of these issues, because they're great one and dones. They're great one and dones. You don't need to pick up issue 1. You don't need to pick up a run of them. You can just jump in anywhere. And that's the great thing about these comic books, is that they truly were super inclusive to where you could jump in anywhere and you're going to get a full story. So go pick these up. While you're at it, make sure you check out the other vids on the channel. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, I'm out.